Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast. Back at noon, back in studio. Look at us.
Feels good to be back.
I think it means training camp is officially over.
I think so too.
Something like that.
Yeah.
However, Bears preseason coverage is still presented by Ray Chevrolet. Shop the new car clearance event all month long by visiting Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive. Adam Hoge, Nicholas Moreano with you. Admittedly shorthanded a little bit this week, but we grind on. Greg is obviously on injured reserve as he continues to recover from his ACL. And Mark has no excuse. He's just at the U.S. Open taking his second vacation in 3 weeks.
Yeah, he loves his tennis events, and he's making sure to hit them all when he can.
Yeah. We are going to be handing out training camp awards. We like to do this every year, and training camp is officially over now. We're sort of in this weird limbo period that they've created with the new NFL calendar, where technically some roster moves have been made. You obviously saw the trades over the weekend, and you have your deadline tomorrow for the 53-man roster. So some speculation, especially in the podcast world, could be old news in just a short amount of time.
Sure.
So we're probably not going to get too much in the 53-man roster today. Tomorrow we will have a deadline, a roster deadline show at 3 o'clock. We'll break it all down when the 53-man roster is announced. However, we got some big news as a company today that we got to talk about right off the bat. First of all, we expanded to Dallas today. DLLS is launched and ready to go. So we bring in Cowboys fans into our All-City family now.
Yeah, that's going to be
kind of scary.
Yeah, it definitely is. And seeing like their little promo video just gave me flashbacks of when CHGO was launching and how excited that fan base is, like our fan base was. So it's awesome that we get to expand to another network.
Yeah, so make sure you go check out DLLS. At DLLS_sports would be their official Twitter handle. You'll see the video that Nick's talking about there. And give them a subscribe too, just to help them out on their YouTube channel as they continue to launch. By helping them, you are also helping us. It's all part of the same company all here at ALLCITY. And as we continue to grow and grow, we were able to streamline some things like merchandise.
Let's go.
And that brings us to the news that might be a little bit more powerful here locally for you Bears fans. But brand new shirt up and ready to go today. Our Claws Up shirt in the CHGO locker. This is available to go get right now at a new URL, because if you go to store.allcitynetwork.com, you're going to see a brand new online store that A, looks a lot better, B, is streamlined, as I was talking about. You're going to see way more products on there, and this is a new thing too that I think a lot of people will like. It's now all of our networks, all the shirts, because like DNVR has a ton of cool shirts. I've bought some.
There. Yep.
Yeah. PHLY, the new DLLS stuff is absolute fire that they launched today. So if you want to dip in and buy some of that stuff, there are some cool designs on there. They're all in one place now by going to store.allcitynetwork.com. It looks awesome, and you can still get your diehard discount there, as well as purchase this brand new Claws Up shirt that we released today. And I'm sure Bragg's already ordered 6 of them.
Probably. And look, if you become a diehard, you can already get the claws up shirt right now. You'd be one of the first people to get it. So, I don't know. Just there's so many incentives to become a diehard. And whenever you drop a new shirt, that's just a great excuse.
And you can now also find our merch at Dick's Sporting Goods.
That was awesome.
Which was a new development. Now, we will say you cannot get your diehard discount at Dick's. So if you want to apply your diehard discount, we do encourage you to go to store.allcitynetwork.com.
I do like the idea of someone coming with their diehard guard, just slapping it down on the table at Dick's and saying, "Here,
you already
the discount at. Come on,
it's diehard membership. Come on,
let's not rule things out. We don't have limits here. Maybe in the future that's a real thing you can do. But right now, diehard discount is only on the online store. Go check it out. It looks awesome. But if you happen to be at Dick's Sporting Goods, you can now buy some of our shirts there, which is awesome. I will warn you, just so you don't run out there and try to buy that claws up shirt. It is not that specific shirt, because it's brand new, is not at Dick's Sporting Goods. But if you're hanging around Dick's, you'll see some of our stuff there. And don't be afraid to go out and buy some there, because that would be great, you know, to continue to expand at brick and mortar stores like that. So thank you very much. All right, a lot of business on this Monday that we had to announce off the top. Think we got through everything, Steven?
I think that was it. And we're on Roku right now.
Yes.
So there's that.
Because we haven't been every single day. We are live on the new Roku channel right now, so you can check that out as well. And as we get back to our standard noon time going forward, we should be on the Roku channel pretty much daily, and our pre and post games will be available there too. So please go check that out when you get a chance. Hit subscribe, hit that like button. We went over 60,000 subscribers on Saturday.
Let's go.
That was awesome too. And we will continue to go up and up as the season goes along as well. All right, training camp in the books. We're doing awards today. We got a bunch of different categories that Nick and I will hit after watching all of these training camp practices. And we're going to start with offensive MVP of camp. And Nick, I will let you go first. Who you got here as your offensive MVP?
Yeah, I think from start to finish, it'd be hard to go. It would be wrong of me not to say this player, because I think he's been very consistent. But Keenan Allen, since he's been here, he's been a consistent target from Caleb Williams. Outside of going against Jaylon Johnson, I want to say that Keenan has literally won those matchups more times than not. And he finally got Jaylon on the one opportunity after like putting that out into the world that he hasn't beaten him yet. So Keenan Allen, despite all the rumors about the weight that were definitely not true, he has been cooking people, especially from that slot position, and doing it very consistently. And, showed out in that Bengals practice in the rain, getting open and becoming available for Caleb Williams. So I think that Caleb Williams, the connection with Keenan Allen's been, again, consistent. So I'm got to go MVP to Keenan Allen here.
I think in last year, DJ Moore was potentially our unanimous choice for training camp MVP on the offensive side. And it's not like DJ didn't have a good camp. So it just goes to show you that both the last 2 years, the wide receiver they added through free agency or trade, the veteran wide receiver that they added showed up and put in the work right away in camp.
Like, obviously, we've only been doing these shows for 2.5 years, but can you remember a time in Bears history where we're looking at a wide receiver as the offensive MVP for this team? Like, maybe Brandon Marshall?
Yeah. And now they got a couple. Yeah.
Or like a running back. It would be,
I like this chat that's on the screen, too, because DeAndre Swift, are we hiding DeAndre Swift like a secret weapon? That's the thing. I think Swift would have been a candidate, is a candidate for this award, too. If someone wanted to give it to him, I wouldn't really quibble. But we really didn't see a lot of them in the preseason games.
Yeah.
And
outside of that Buffalo catch, outside of that one, but you saw what he could do when he gets literally one opportunity.
I'm going to go to the offensive line, believe it or not, as my offensive MVP.
I like this.
The more and more I thought about this, I'm very happy with my choice here. I have Tevin Jenkins as my offensive MVP of training camp. I think not only because he looked good, but he was consistent and he was available every single day. All of a sudden, he went from somebody talked about a lot because what are the reasons we talk about Tevin Jenkins usually? It's usually because he's mauling somebody on film or because he's not available.
Mm-hmm.
This camp, there were still those moments where he's getting his licks in and things like that, and had those impressive moments. But he also started flying under the radar because he was just out there every day. And you're more focused on other guys like Nate Davis and other positions too of guys who have been out. And so I thought Tevin looked good. I thought he was available. He's checking every boxes. You're hearing the right things about him too, including Ryan Poles last week on Hoge and Johns. If he keeps this up between now and that bye week, I think he gets an extension. But he's got to stay available and obviously has to play well. But to be even in the consideration as the most valuable player of training camp on the offensive side is a huge step in the right direction. I thought he had a great training camp.
And you know what, too? The one practice where it got a little physical, Tevin Jenkins was the first guy to stand up for Ian Wheeler getting smacked and get right in Javon Dexter's feet. That's what Tevin Jenkins brings. Physicality, he'll stick up for his teammates. And when you saw you put that down, Hoge, I was like, that's a really good option there for the offensive MVP.
Yeah, I like it. I know we got a big super chat from Crystal. We'll get that at the end of the segment before we go into the break, okay? Defensive MVP. Who you got here?
Yeah, again, a guy that I couldn't leave off my list. I'm going Montez Sweat here, Adam, because there were some practices where, they had to literally take Montez Sweat off the field because he was touching Caleb Williams. Yes, you can't do that, but you are getting around your opponent in that one-on-one matchup. And more times than not, he would do that against Darnell Wright. And there's a lot of times, and even though he wasn't actually out there for some of the practice towards the end, when Montez Sweat was out there, you felt his impact. There was a play I remember, too, where Caleb Williams is running over to the left, and Montez Sweat is tracking him down near the sideline. It's like he brings that motor. Obviously, he's very talented, can win those one-on-one matchups. So Montez Sweat will be a factor this season, will be obviously the leading candidate to have the most sacks for this team. But, yeah, Darnell Wright got his work in this training camp because of Montez Sweat.
Yeah, Montez Sweat was absolutely dominant early on in camp when he had those pads on. And it was one of those things where it was like, all right, that's all we need to see
We're
here.
done.
We'll see you in week one. That's fine. I know he was dealing with something, but to me that doesn't really matter. He's going to be ready to go week one and looks great. The only reason I'm not going with Montez is just because the guy I'm going with looked just as good, in my opinion, and was out there the entire time. Sure. And that's Jaylon Johnson. Jaylon Johnson, he was already one of the best cornerbacks in the league. He somehow got better. Mm-hmm. He was just shutting guys down the entire camp. You heard, Keenan Allen being like, I can't get a catch against this guy. Something always goes wrong. Then you had him dominate the Bengals. Going up against Joe Burrow. It's still a shame we didn't get him to see, one-on-one against Jamar Chase. That would have been awesome. But, look, he passed every test. I thought he was – look, you got two good blue-chip players that you have on defense right now. Jaylon Johnson, Montez Sweat. You got to feel great about that. Jaylon was just a little bit more consistent, more available the entire time.
They didn't even throw to him, Adam. They wouldn't even throw in his direction sometimes. That's how good of a corner Jaylon Johnson has become, and really showed in this training camp.
Yeah, other candidates like I think TJ Edwards.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Out there every single day.
Kevin Byard was he's made a lot of splash plays in this training camp too, and then obviously he got injured towards the end, but he was another candidate I was also considering.
What about Javon Dexter? I mean, he didn't show as much in the preseason games, but in the actual camp practices, I kept hearing really positive things about him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's a name we're going to end up talking about here coming up because I think he deserves one of our training camp awards, but maybe just in a different category than, MVP. Let's hit that super chat, though, from Crystal because, wow, coming in hot on this Monday with a $100 super chat. Hey, guys, I feel like I haven't been here in a week. Took a trip, had a busy week, so I'm finally caught up. Great work, guys, over the last week. Also, I tried the hot dog ice cream video. Coming soon.
Oh,
here's 100 for missing the week. Keep up great work and bear down.
Crystal's the best. Should Carm also give a $100 super check because he's kind of missed the week with all the vacations that he's been on?
Yeah, well, I think he ran out of vacation days, so he actually will have to pay for his time off. I think that's how it works.
Carm.
So it could be in the form of super chats or just not getting paid. One or the other there. We'll find out. All right, yeah, got a lot more of these awards coming up here in a second. But first, let's talk about our friends at Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary because they're here to elevate what is left of your summer. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. They have a crazy selection with over 100 different strains to choose from with easy online ordering and in-store pickup. Wherever you are in Illinois, Sunnyside has a location for you. They have spots as far south as Champaign and as far north as South Beloit. That's as far north as you can go before you're into Wisconsin. Stop in the store nearest you for expert guidance from their staff or select from quality lines like Cresco or Florical. And here's one you want to check out. The Good News Tea Time disposable vape, bringing classic lemonade flavor that's perfect for the course because we all need a little help staying loose on the green. I need a lot of help Friday at our golf outing. I know that. So head to Sunnyside right now. Pick that up. You can visit sunnyside.shop too for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. I said 50% off. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders.
Check out Sunnyside, and you got to check out Circa Sports. Why? Because they have tight money line splits and a low hold model. Games will strive to be a -110 split on the Circa Sports menu, unlike other sports books, which may use -120 or even -115 split. Circa Sports keeps as little money as possible on large market bets, especially compared to some of those other books. And Circa Sports does not limit players based on their winnings. Every player has the same limits, unlike other books who do limit winning players. So, and look, Circa encourages bettors to download and explore all those other sports betting apps available. Compare the lines for yourselves, you will see. And also, the customer service that Circa has, the best in the business. There are real people behind the Circa Sports brand who resolve issues in a timely fashion, unlike other books who use chatbots. All aspects of the app are being run by the same team that runs the main Circa Sports book at Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. Download the Circa Sports Illinois app at circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. Also be on the lookout for Circa events, watch parties, and tailgates. They're with us for all the Cubs Friday 120 clubs. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537. Text GAMB to 833-234 or visit areyourreallywinning.com.
All right, let's continue our awards that we're handing out with training camp now over. And we're going to talk about, we've got to put a little caveat on this one. The best rookie not named Caleb Williams. Because otherwise,
makes sense.
I don't think we'd have much discussion here.
No.
But, and don't worry, there will be some Caleb discussion coming up. Quite a bit, actually. But the best rookie besides Caleb Williams. Nick, what do you got?
Yeah, this is a guy that makes a lot of sense. It's got to be Austin Booker. I mean, we've seen this guy and what he had limited college experience coming in to being drafted by the Bears out of Kansas, but it really didn't show all too much on the practice field or especially in some of those preseason games where Austin Booker is literally wrecking people at him, and he's doing so from unorthodox ways, as his defensive line coach Travis Smith has kind of described his pass rush routine. But this is a guy that once he was on the field, he was disruptive. And yes, that was maybe against second teamers, third teamers in the preseason games, but still, nonetheless, he was disrupting offenses and opposing quarterbacks. And, you know, when there were guys that got injured on that defensive line, he got some first-team reps with that starting defense. So I just like the progression of Austin Booker, what he's been able to do, not only in training camp, but in the preseason.
Yeah, I mean, I think Austin's been great, really exciting, and looks like, you know, I still think he's going to need some time, but really the arrow is pointed way high for Austin Booker. And his performance in these games, in the preseason, in practice, really backed that up.
For sure.
I think it's going to be a different animal in the regular season, but for training camp, certainly can make that argument that he was the best rookie besides Caleb Williams. That kind of leaves two others for me, for the most part. And I don't want this to come off like I'm bashing Rome Odunze at all, because you guys know how I feel about Rome Odunze. But when you compare these two players in camp, I just think one of them had a couple more blemishes than the other. More rookie moments, let's just say. And so for Rome Odunze, I thought he had a great camp. I'm just as high as I've been. He was my number 3 overall player in the entire draft. I still feel that way. So things are going to be great this year with Rome Odunze. But he did have those couple moments in games where he didn't quite do what Caleb wanted him to do, get to the right pylon, scramble the right way or whatever, and then drops very briefly, like towards the end of camp.
There were a couple, yeah.
Started popping up. So there were some rookie moments for Rome Odunze in what was otherwise an outstanding training camp, I thought, for him. And, you know, I think there's a world in which he ends up being this team's number 1 wide receiver. Maybe not this year, but really soon. However, you know where I'm going with this. The punter, Tory Taylor, as flawless of a camp as you could possibly have. Now, granted, he's a punter. I get it. But, like, literally from the first practice on, here's a dart over here. Here's a dart over here. All right, Braggs would call them dots. Yeah. You know, ball literally just checking up at the 1 every single time. Like, I don't know how he does that so consistently. No. He's booming the ball. The hang time's great. So, for best rookie besides Caleb Williams, I think if you're going, you know, fully on the results, probably make the argument Tory Taylor was better than Caleb Williams.
He was consistent, man, and that's the thing. Like, we knew what skill set he brought coming out of Iowa, and it showed in Lake Forest consistently on those practice fields. So, when you put it down, it made a lot of sense in my eyes, and yeah, that's why he made our list here.
Yep. All right, so that's the best rookie besides Caleb Williams. Let's talk about most improved Bear.
Yeah, and you know, Steven brought up his name earlier, and I think he fits this category really well. But Gervon Dexter Sr., I think, showing from what he was in his rookie season to physically what he looked like in this second year, it was a major difference. And I think you saw that on the practice field in this training camp from a guy that, you know, was shooting through gaps almost. I won't say every single practice because that wouldn't be true, but he always had a batted pass. He was so consistent with that, just timing up when Caleb Williams would throw. He would just put his big paw up and then just get one of those PBUs. So Gervon Dexter, obviously being someone that plays a very important position on this Bears defense, I thought he made the right strides, and hopefully that plays out in the regular season. But most improved, I got to go Gervon Dexter here.
So I think it might surprise people with this one a little bit. At least it's not the name you might think of right away. But once I say it, I think it's going to make sense. Because I do think Gervon Dexter is kind of like the obvious answer.
The guy, yep.
And easily could go that way. Most improved player throughout training camp was Caleb Williams. From the very start of training camp to the very end, I don't think a single player on the roster had such a linear development where, you know, it's not like it started poorly, but there's definitely some choppiness at the start. There was those cadence issues. You know, there was just a little bit of shakiness. And whether you're watching on the practice fields like we were, or you're even following along on Hard Knocks and kind of listening to what Matt Eberflus is saying or what Ryan Poles said last week on Hoge and Johns, or that comment he made to Ian Cunningham on Hard Knocks, like, he was getting better each and every week, getting better. And I think that steady improvement from the start to the end makes him the most improved player throughout Bears training camp.
You know, it would be wrong if we didn't have Caleb Williams as one of these awards somewhere, but it makes a lot of sense because there are some practices where like, ooh, there's another false start. There's another false start, cadence issues. And then it just seemed like as training camp kind of went along, it just felt like Caleb had a better understanding of where to go with the ball. He was holding the ball less in some of those later practices and kind of getting the ball out quickly. So, again, gradual improvement, and that's why you saw him kind of perform the way he did in some of those preseason games.
Yeah, so I think both of those are good. And someone's mentioning Bajan. That's not a bad a bad answer either.
Yeah, and you know what? Greg put Josh Blackwell, and I like that one a lot too. Like when we were thinking about guys to put in this category, he was definitely on my mind. And yeah, he's had a really good training camp, and did some good things in the preseason as well.
Also seeing Kyler Gordon mentioned in there. Kyler Gordon might end up being the most improved Bear, for the season, but he also didn't practice a whole lot.
Yeah,
so like training camp, I can't name him that for camp. And I still think we need to see the results. Mm-hmm. Certainly that game he came out and was just flying all over the field against the Bengals was a great sign.
Yep.
But he missed too much practice time, really, for me to be able to win any award.
On a per-practice basis, was Kyler Gordon probably the best?
A per-practice basis. Man, he really did not practice a lot.
Really
I know it's such a small sample size, but when he was out there, it was such dominant showing. Even the preseason game where he's lighting people up. He did it all, really.
I mean, I remember the first practice he got back, he literally broke up a pass intended for Gerald Everett. I'm like, oh, man, Kyler Gordon's here. You can probably make the argument, but he did just have such a small sample size.
All right, now this is one that we talked about going into camp. The training camp hero. There's always one or two every single year. I think we came up with two here. Nick, you can take whichever one you want as your training camp hero. But I think these answers are kind of obvious.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Reddy Stewart here. Nickel corner. This is a new position for him coming in, but like when you heard that he intercepted Caleb Williams in 7-on-7s, you're like, oh, wait, number 46, you got to keep an eye on him. And then, getting the pick 6 in Kansas City and, getting also the interception at the goal line. Reddy Stewart, when he had his opportunities, and he did because Kyler Gordon was out for a lot of the practices, there was a time where Reddy Stewart was actually practicing with the first-team defense. So you're like, who is this guy out of Troy and these plays that he keeps making? Does he actually have a chance to make the roster? And I guess we'll see on Tuesday. But I think at least he made it a little difficult for the Bears. And I, don't know if he's going to actually end up making it. But he had some good practices. So had to shout out Reddy Stewart as the training camp hero on my end.
Yeah, and I probably should have teed that up better and like kind of what the criteria is for this award. But it's basically it's the one guy deeper on the roster. A lot of times it's a rookie that the fans just sort of fall in love with.
Yeah,
he certainly makes some plays, does a great job in camp, then usually doesn't make the team.
Yeah.
Or at least doesn't make the 53. Now in some cases you might. I mean, Tanner Gentry.
Was it Jack Sanborn like a training camp hero?
Yeah, probably Jack
right?
Sanborn. Sometimes they do stick. So I think that's one. Just want to explain the award a little bit more. I'm going to go with Ian Wheeler, the running back.
Mm-hmm.
Ian, of course, fans seem to love this guy from the time the Bears signed him as a UDFA. This sort of Valus versus Wheeler thing developed. He had a couple touchdowns against the Bills. That was a lot of fun. And, was kind of putting the pressure on to potentially be the last running back to make the team. I was never really completely buying it. Unfortunately, This one ended very sadly because Ian actually suffered a torn ACL in that game on Thursday and is going on IR. Now, the good news, if there is any silver lining to this, both for Ian and the Bears, is he went on straight IR. They're going to keep him around. He'll be able to rehab with the Bears. And, you never want to have to recover from an ACL. It would have been great if he could have, sort of developed on the practice squad all year and played. But, again, we're talking silver lining on a bad injury here. He'll be around next year, next training camp. He'll have a chance to develop. So, I think right now you could say that there's only two people that are guaranteed to be coming off ACL injuries that will be at Bears training camp next year, and that's Ian Wheeler and Greg Braggs Jr.
Very true. Those I would bet on those two any day. I'm also seeing Daniel Hardy in here, and I think that would be an obvious one too. So he had a very, very productive preseason, so that definitely helps him.
All right, quickly, best moment of training camp.
I love the raining practice against the Cincinnati Bengals for a lot of reasons. One, I mean, the rain made it really difficult to actually see what was going on at times, but it kind of created this atmosphere there with the Bengals coming in. And, the Bears showed out on that day, offensively and defensively. So when I'm thinking about all the moments we've had at training camp, that would be my number one.
All right, for me, I think this is legal. I'm going to go with a Hard Knocks moment. because I think it still was the best moment in training camp, even though we didn't see it with our own eyes when it happened. But Theo Benedette singing with Amagaji doing the cymbals, and then he strips off the pants and he's in the Speedo. I mean,
that's amazing.
How is that not the best moment in training camp?
That was great.
I mean, that was it right there. It has to be that one. All right. Got some more Caleb Williams conversation coming up next. But first, shop Ray Chevrolet. Just go do it. Shop Ray Chevrolet. Secure the right new Chevy and price for you. That's because their new car clearance event is going on all month long. You can shop their huge selection of new Chevy models now at new low prices. Visit our partner this August at their location on Route 12 in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. I was just over there yesterday. As one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories. Right now, get 0% financing, make 0 payments until 2025, put $0 down, and find 0 hidden fees on all new Chevrolet models. Or cruise into August your own way and shop over 125 of their vehicles priced under $20,000. And if you've heard of Ray Chevrolet, you know about Ray's Price Promise. They're guaranteed to make your next vehicle more affordable than ever with no price changing, no add-ons, no hidden fees ever. That means the incredible prices we're talking about right now, you can expect to see the very same when you shop Ray Chevy in-store or online. Shop the new car clearance event all month long by visiting Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive.
To tell everybody about Rugged Road, it is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Their products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions. Whether you are on land or water, Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. One of the most unique features of Rugged Road coolers is their ability to always float upright, never lose a drink. Unlike other heavy-duty coolers, Rugged Road coolers are incredibly light, making them easy to transport on any trip without compromising on performance and the durability and dependability. Crafted to handle the toughest environments, their coolers are built to last, ensuring they can keep up with any adventure. The coolers are guaranteed to keep their contents cool for up to 7 days, but oftentimes much longer than that. They're also the versatility of them, perfect for a variety of outdoor activities from fishing and tubing to camping and tailgating. These coolers are designed to meet the needs of every outdoor or sports enthusiast. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers, reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use the code CHGO for 10% off.
Okay, a lot of big things happening on this Monday morning. We mentioned off the top our ALLCITY launch in Dallas today. DLLS is live. Mark Cuban retweeting it.
Oh,
yeah,
that's awesome.
not Mark Carmen.
Yeah, that wouldn't get as much traction.
Mark Cuban.
Well, there was a comment that said a lot of Dirk Nowitzki here in this this video promo, and then of course Mark Cuban, big Dirk Nowitzki guy, came in there.
Okay. That's dope. That's really dope.
Well, I don't know. Spano might want to get on the phone with Cuban. Would be the worst idea.
Would be a good call. Be a good call to have.
Potentially open for business there. All right. And then our new shop, which you're seeing on the bottom there, store.allcitynetwork.com. Brand new claws up shirt, ready to go for the fall. And if you go check out store.allcitynetwork.com, used to be our CHGO locker. I think we're still calling it that, but it just exists now within the streamlined store that goes across all our networks. I encourage you to check out some of the other markets, some of the gear they got, because it's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I got a sneak peek at the I think they shared it last night in our internal stuff, but because we do have a Texas Longhorns podcast coming out soon.
Yeah.
And the logo for that looks awesome.
Yep.
Please put that on a shirt and I will buy it yesterday. It looks sweet. All right. Another reason why it's big is because from football content standpoint, the annual QB tiers came out this morning. And Mike Sando from The Athletic does a phenomenal job with this every single year. We always talk about it on the show because there's usually some controversy involving Justin Fields and where he should be and blah, blah, blah. Well, it's a new era, and Caleb Williams is here. Now, rookies do not appear in the QB tiers because they haven't played yet in the NFL. Let me explain to you what this is. If you've never seen it, I encourage you to go to theathletic.com, and if you do, go /Hoge Johns to get a subscription. You'll get a good deal there. We're also just going to discuss it right here if you want. So the way this works is Mike Sando does a great job at The Athletic. He got a panel that consisted of 7 general managers, 8 head coaches, 12 coordinators, 12 executives, 8 assistant coaches, and then 3 others that are involved in coaching /analytics. So this is a panel. This is not his quarterback tiers. It's a panel of actual NFL people
qualified
putting these quarterbacks, these starting quarterbacks in the league, into tiers. Okay? And so tier 1, for example, tier 1 quarterbacks can carry their team every week. The team wins because of them. The quarterback expertly handles pure passing situations and has no real holes in their game. So for these 3 quarterbacks that end up in this tier, there's only 3 of them: Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Can't argue that.
Tier 2 carries the team sometimes, but not as consistently, can handle pure passing situations in doses, and possesses other dimensions that are special enough to elevate him above tier 3. He does have a hole or 2 in his game. So we're talking about other top quarterbacks that just maybe aren't quite
those 3.
Perfect. Yeah. And you could also argue, by the way, Mahomes should be in his own tier. I'm cool with that too. But Lamar Jackson is in tier 2. Matthew Stafford, Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers is still in here. I'm not going to go through this. By the way, one relevant name is CJ Stroud ended up in this tier.
After 1 year.
Which is kind of where I want to start this with Caleb Williams. Because they don't put the rookies in here. And what we want to talk about is where should Caleb Williams be if you were to put him in the QB tiers. So again, think about what I just said for tier 2. Can carry his team sometimes, but not as consistently. Can handle pure passing situations in doses. And possesses other dimensions that are special enough to elevate. Actually says and or possesses other dimensions that are special enough to elevate him above tier 3. And has a hole or 2 in his game. And there's CJ Stroud sitting here in that tier. Would you agree, Nick, it'd be a little bit of a stretch to be like, yep, Caleb's walking in and he's already in that tier?
I think so. We haven't seen it. But, yeah, I think it would be too much of a stretch to put him right then and there with all these quarterbacks that include guys like Aaron Rodgers, guys that have at least completed 1 season like CJ Stroud.
I do think that that's fair to put Stroud there, though.
Yeah.
I mean, if you listen to, again, that definition, he was carrying his team last year, but not always.
No.
Especially
early on.
Not the whole time, but a lot of the time. He didn't have, the same full weaponry that he does now. That looks really good. And definitely elevated that team into a playoff team. Was doing pure passing situations, but not the whole time. And obviously has some special aspects of his game that take him above tier 3, but there's still a hole or 2 in there. I think that that's fair for CJ Stroud. And I think that if you're the Bears, then you'd love to see Caleb be in that tier by next year.
No doubt.
Which we've talked a lot about with CJ Stroud. Like, that would be an ideal rookie season for Caleb Williams. So let's talk about tier 3. And if it would be fair to put Caleb in this tier now, even though he has yet to play a regular season down in the NFL. A tier 3 quarterback is a legitimate starter, but needs a heavier running game and or defensive component to win. A lower volume drop back passing offense suits him best. I think that's what you're going to see this year. I think that's what the Bears have created here. I think they believe he's a legitimate starter, or they wouldn't be making him one right away. They're helping him with, I think, what's going to be a heavier running game.
Yeah.
I do think once the regular season starts, and that guy we were talking about earlier, DeAndre Swift, that is going to be the Bears, and not just a defensive component, but a good defense to go along with it. A lower volume drop back passing offense. That might be the only thing is like, I do think when they do pass, we are going to see drop backs. We are going to see pure progressions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a testament to him being able to do that already as a rookie. But again, let's see what the results are, because they might have to play with that a little bit based on what the early results are.
Yeah, especially early on in the season when you read that tier, heavier running game, defensive component, that strikes me as Bears what they have right now. The defense that they have, you have multiple running backs that you can give the ball to in different situations, and maybe it is less passing to start off the year, but give me the second half of this year. Let's see how that changes for Caleb Williams as he adjusts to the NFL game, gets more comfortable with the weapons that he has around him, and knowing exactly what this offense that Shane Waldron's doing to maximize his abilities in each and every week. But again, I go back, so real quickly, I do go back to tier 2, and that word special, that's what Ryan Poles has talked about with Caleb Williams. What makes him special? The plays where he gets outside the pocket. I don't think that's right to put him, again, here right now in his rookie season, having never played an actual down of football. But, like, if we are having that conversation at the end of this year, what tier should he be in before Sando actually comes out with this list, I would not be surprised if Caleb Williams, with all these weapons that he has, makes himself in that tier 2 because of the abilities that he does have, the weapons that he has, and ultimately the year that I think he'll have in 2024.
Yeah, I think what you're going to see here is the Bears basically treat him like a tier 3 quarterback to start and hope that he elevates to what we're talking about with the tier 2 quarterback, which is a quarterback who is, carrying the team at times, but with the Bears, ideally won't have to. Will handle pure passing. We've already seen that in the preseason, and is going to have those special things that, you're talking about, Ryan Poles is talking about, but he's not going to be a perfect quarterback.
No.
And ideally the dream is that he ends up in tier 1, which is kind of the point of this whole thing, but that's at least a couple years away.
Well, let me ask you this. Justin Herbert right now has the rookie record for past TDs in a season. It's 31.
Whew.
If Caleb threatens that, is he already tier 2 after one season of playing
Yes.
football?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Because we're talking about C.J. Stroud there. C.J. Stroud missed 2 games, to be fair. But, I mean, if he's already in there, Caleb's got to be up there in tier 2
he had 23 touchdowns, C.J. Stroud. He also threw for over 4,000 yards.
Yeah.
So if he gets that 30, he's going to be a tier 2 guy, and the Bears are probably have double-digit victories, to be completely honest.
Here's your list of tier 3 quarterbacks, by the way. Tua, Trevor Lawrence, Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield, Carms guy Derek Carr, Geno Smith, and Russell Wilson. Is there a single quarterback that you would rather have right now to go into this season? I'm not even going to do like draft thing, because you're going to draft Caleb. He's younger. He's on a rookie deal. But like, you had to win a game on next week.
I mean, no. I'm not. None of those guys.
Steven looks like he wants to say something.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Trevor Lawrence. He hasn't shown it yet, but I think everyone still believes it's there. I mean, Tua led the league in passing last year, but the inconsistency is just way too apparent for me. I think I go Caleb there.
I did draft Kyler Murray in my fantasy draft, just yesterday. So,
and I did mention pre-show that there was something that 3 of these guys had in common with Caleb, and they were all the number 1 overall picks in the draft.
Yeah,
in that tier, yeah.
Yeah, see, I think I wouldn't say Tua, just because I think the weapons have elevated him so much.
There are limitations.
Kyler might be the one guy.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But again, that's just to win a game this week. I'm not taking Kyler over
long term.
Caleb Williams. No chance. So it's just interesting that, I understand why they keep the rookies out of this, especially because I know a little bit about how Sando compiles this, and some of the information he gets, I think, is even pre-draft. He works on this a lot. It's a heavy lift. And by the way, this looks really cool on here. They've done a really good job on The Athletic presenting this, where you can the graphics, you can click on each one. Just for the record, tier 4 quarterbacks could be any unproven player not enough information for voters to classify. So you could just throw all the rookies in there. Or a veteran who ideally would not start all 17 games. That's where I think like probably all the other rookie quarterbacks that were drafted would be in tier 4 if you had to put him in one. But I do think Caleb elevates into tier 3 based on
just the guys that are in there.
Yeah. Well, look who the number 2 tier 4 quarterback is.
Exactly.
Your top 2 tier 4 guys are Daniel Jones and Justin Fields.
Yeah, and if you're asking me, Caleb Williams or those two guys, like there's no debate, there's no discussion. We're going Caleb Williams.
And Fields, by the way, was a tier 3 quarterback last year who fell to tier 4.
Yep. And Russell Wilson was the last guy in tier 3, and they're still battling for that. I think Tomlin's going to actually announce their starter at the end of this week, so we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, if you have to wait all the way to week 1 to announce your starter, you
don't have a quarterback.
You're not in a great spot.
Yeah,
is what's going on there.
No doubt.
What's that old saying? If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, not to go down that road, but I still think Justin's worthy enough of starting in the league, though. And when I look at that situation, I mean, Russell just seems to be really declining right now. I think Justin probably commands more respect in that room at this point in his career, believe it or not.
And you know what?
In terms of likability, especially.
Yeah. If he hasn't won them the job yet, Russell Wilson, I know he's missed some time. I think that also tells you it too. Like, he hasn't just blown away the expectations. He knows the offense, making all the right throws. It's still a discussion up to this point. Like, that can also be an answer in itself, where Justin may just give you better another option in terms of not only the passing game, but he can escape. The escapability is there too.
The problem is, though, that the Steelers have same problem, Bears were dealing with all the way to Nick Foles and Mitch Trubisky.
Yep.
It's like you got to run 2 different offenses.
Yeah.
Not 2 completely different offenses, but you definitely it's 2 different things there that Arthur Smith, the Steelers OC, and that becomes a thing with coaches. What would they rather run? What is their preferred style?
Well, Russell Wilson has one of the highest deep ball pass attempt rates in the NFL, and that's despite, for me, he really hasn't been that good since his final year in Seattle. He tore the UCL in his thumb. That's what prevents your thumb from touching like the palm of your hand on the opposite side. It's supposed to impact your grip strength. He's still been airing the ball out, but that's very different to your point, Hoge, of what Justin Fields does, which is more short checkdowns or running the ball a lot.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know. It'll be fascinating who ends up actually starting. I still think Russell Wilson will get the start, but I guess we'll know by the end of the week.
I feel like it's easier. It'd be easier, like, politically
to start
Russell and then move to Justin than doing it the other way.
Yeah, I agree.
But it would not shock me if this turns into sort of accidentally brought this up, but the Foles Trubisky thing where they ended up going back and forth and they were kind of just caught in between and probably had some politics behind the scenes with the coaching staff on who wanted to run what. Yeah.
That stinks for Justin Fields. I mean, like, for a guy that obviously I think a lot of Bears fans still like, but to be in a situation where, and he wanted to go to Pittsburgh, and polls obviously allowed that to happen, but it is in that in-between, what's going to happen, what's not going to happen. It's taking to the last week here. So wish him all the best.
Well, can I get your official votes now on August 26th? Who do you guys think will start week 1 for the Steelers?
Russell Wilson. I'm going to put it as my week 1 starter.
Tough, but
I'll take Russ.
I'm going to go.
You want to say Justin?
Well, I do want to say Justin.
I think we all want to say Justin.
Yeah.
I think they should start Justin. And the one thing about this that's different is Tomlin is a well-established coach. He's going to know the dynamics of this and what's better for the team. And I just feel like in that locker room, Having not covered the Steelers, definitely
Outside
sort of
looking in.
guessing. My guess is there's more support in that locker room for Fields than there is Wilson. And I could see Tomlin leaning into that.
I'm going to predict it's going to be Russell Wilson to start.
Okay.
And it won't be that long until Fields gets that
Short
that
leash.
spot. So I'm thinking, hey, with Russell Wilson ending up over there when he did, there was probably some assurances of, hey, you're going to have a job here. If it would have been the reverse order and Fields got there first, I might have a different answer for you.
I'm going to go Fields.
We're going to have to revisit this week 1 now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we should have our answer hopefully.
Couple days.
Yeah, later in the week. All right, couple smaller newsier items, but has to do with final roster decisions. One is Aaron Wilson reported earlier Ja'Tyre Carter was waived by the Bears. No surprise there. I certainly didn't have him on my 53.
Guy that was bouncing between second team, third team, was even playing left tackle after being a guard for when he got to the Bears. So when you don't have any positions, you have none, and that's why he's no longer on the team here. So didn't surprise me at all seeing that.
I think the two names to watch to make the 53 a little bit deeper on the Bears in that offensive line room are with Ryan Bates' injury. If he's not available week 1, you have to carry another center.
Yep.
And I think the two guys then are Doug Kramer and Bill Murray.
Yeah.
And I think they'd probably keep Kramer in that situation because he's more of the pure center.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Murray gives you a little
Left
bit more
guard,
versatility
right guard.
between guard and center, which is what you need on game day. So,
and they also have Matt Pryor too, who has that guard versatility as well.
well, he's going to be your guard tackle.
Yeah.
Bill Murray could be your guard center guy. So,
those are two guys definitely to keep an eye on, though.
yeah, but no surprise that Ja'Tyre Carter didn't make it. Meanwhile, Tom Pelissero put this out, and it is definitely an important note because the NFL had passed this rule that the emergency third quarterbacks could be an unlimited elevation of quarterbacks from your practice squad, which is different because, like, in the past couple of years, you could elevate a quarterback a certain amount of times. I forget the exact amount. And as long as they're elevated on game day, they qualify to be the emergency third quarterback. What the NFL passed this year is that you can be elevated at unlimited times, which to me, even when they announced this back at the owners' meetings when I was there in Orlando, it surprised me because I'm like, to me, that just makes, okay, every third quarterback's going to be on the practice squad then. There's no incentive to keep a third quarterback on your 53-man roster unless it's just a fear that you don't want that quarterback to sign with another team. Because remember, anybody can be signed off a practice squad at any time. Now, they can't be claimed. It has to be an agreement. But this got vetoed by the NFLPA, and I'm not surprised. That's the news this morning, that the NFLPA vetoed this and is not allowing it to happen. And why would they do that, you ask? Well, they do that because you make less money on the practice squad. So by vetoing this, at least a few quarterbacks that otherwise would have been destined for the practice squad might potentially be kept on the 53-man roster where they'll make more money. The NFLPA's job is to protect the players, make them as much money as possible. And I thought this was an interesting one that the NFLPA might have an issue with. So I'm not surprised that this happened.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, what the NFLPA is for, again, doing what's best for the players, like, you just have guys on practice squad. Obviously, you're making a lot less than what you're making if you're on the active 53-man roster. So it made sense that they wouldn't allow us to happen. Does this really affect the Bears roster, how we're looking at it? Probably not. I think we both had only just two quarterbacks actually making the 53, with that obviously being Caleb Williams and Tyson Bagent. So this won't really affect the Bears in terms of who actually makes a 53. But for those other teams that are maybe debating on keeping that third guy, of course it will.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe Brett Rippon ends up being one of those guys who gets signed to somebody's 53 because they need depth at quarterback. I mean, there are teams right now that the backup situations don't look great.
No. Buffalo is actually, I think Mitch was hurt and everyone behind Josh was not even like available. So maybe they're in that situation.
Green Bay needs a backup.
Yeah. Who else would need? We were just talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not you don't have one quarterback, you have multiple. Like I don't know, but something to keep an eye on.
Packers also are having kicker problems.
Good.
Just keep an eye on that too. Yeah.
Good. Have all the problems.
They had a kicker battle going on that was going back and forth. The backup battle's not going well. So
the Bears were once there.
Yeah,
that's
your news out of Green Bay. All right, we have super chats to get to.
Yeah, we got just one more right now.
Okay.
And before I even start reading this, I pay attention to the new profile picture here for Gritty 1.5.
Oh my God.
We got Carm as a number 45 Michael Jordan, and he looks like he's dunking on Hoge and Braggs here.
Wow.
And it's really hard. There's a lot of other little pictures in the background.
Can you blow that up at all?
I can. I'm going to have to cover you a little bit.
That's okay. We want to see the awesome artwork, whatever's going on here. Wow. That is definitely a Carm in his adventure-looking hat. Wow.
Oh, yeah, that's Beekeeper Carm.
Beekeeper Carm, yeah. Well, I'm not a part of it, so I didn't get dunked on.
You are. I see you with the sunglasses in there from Shady Rays.
Am I getting dunked on?
No, you're in the background.
Okay, good.
Well, I hope Carm gets stung by a bee at the U.S. Open.
Anyway, Gritty 1.5, $10 super chat. He says, just want to say thanks for the awesome coverage this summer. Looking forward to kickoff. Just got to get through this week. Thankful for the Hawkeye football. Thankful for Hawkeyes football this weekend.
There's Hawkeye football this weekend?
Yeah, college football starts this weekend.
Oh, crap.
You know,
I'm going to a wedding this weekend, so I haven't really been focused on anything other than that. So I'll be in Boston.
Whoever's getting married this weekend, it's messed up.
Yeah.
Football started.
Oh, we can maybe watch the game.
Can't be doing that.
Now that I know there's a game.
Yeah. Badgers played during a Friday night during Carmel's opener.
Oh. Good timing.
So I have issues with that too. I actually remember when they started playing Big Ten games on Friday nights, it was a big deal because a lot of, growing up in Chicago, I don't know, it didn't seem like but maybe that's just because Chicago's the melting pot of the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. But in some of these, smaller communities where, the college programs, everything, to have that be at the same time as the local high school games, it was a big uproar.
Bad timing.
And I don't think I fully understood at the time, and now I'm like, yeah, what's up with these Friday games?
Yeah, no, it's not
the same
timing.
thing. Wisconsin played Purdue during a Friday game last year when Carmel was playing Mount Carmel and missed the whole game. It was one of Wisconsin's better wins of the year.
That's messed up. Illinois State, you're going down.
Wait, you're playing Illinois? This is the Nick versus Stephen Bowl.
Yeah, I wish I would be fine.
We're just finding that out now.
That's what you guys said in 2015.
I know. I was there.
That
was my first game at Kinnick, and they lose to Illinois State.
They didn't lose.
They didn't? Are you sure? I thought they did.
No, I think it was Illinois State hung in there. Sorry, carry on.
No, okay. Yeah,
I gotta look this up.
We do have football. All right. And somewhere Carm right now is probably scouting out ball boy injuries at the U.S. Open to figure out who might be coming up limp and who he can replace during the tournament. Okay. A lot of great news today around the company. Appreciate everybody being here, and I would go check out DLLS. All our new merch, the new Claws Up shirt. At store.allcity.
ALLCITY Network.
The 85 will be coming out.
Yes, we have a new 85 we're going to be recording tomorrow. The 85 with Cole Kmet. Go hit subscribe on that channel as well.
Real quick before we wrap, I got a few diehards I just wanted to thank real quick. We got Dennis, Jake. It's either Eron or Aaron. I'm not really sure. Rob and Patrick.
Hell yeah. You can get that new shirt.
Yeah.
It just dropped.
You get a free shirt when you sign up to be a CHGO diehard. And let's see, what else was I just trying to think? We got the 85 tomorrow. We got triple header tomorrow is what's going on. 85 roster cut down show will be live at 3, and then Hard Knocks recap post-game show as well. It's going to be a long day.
Just stay on your computer all day.
Yeah,
and
gonna be a great day.
You'll get all of our shows.
All right. We are out of here. We'll be back tomorrow live at 3 o'clock. We'll talk to you then.
We all silly like the mayor.